Okay, so my worry started when I was 12 years old. I don't even remember exactly what the catalyst was, but I know it was something really stupid. It was like someone had started a rumor at school that I had a crush on someone that I didn't have a crush on. And I was worried that people would believe it. And it's something that, 12-year-olds care a lot about. But it was something that normally I would be able to say, that's silly and brush it aside. And I remember really clearly, I was at my family's lake house and I was staring out at the lake, just kind of watching the waves move and thinking to myself, I'm so worried about this thing, but you know what? There's nothing I can do, so I should just move on. And then my brain said, no, actually, I need you to worry about this some more. And no matter how hard I tried to move on, I just couldn't. My brain kept saying, no, I need you to worry about this. I need you to worry about this. And so then I started worrying about the fact that I was worrying so much. And then I started worrying about the fact that I was worrying about the fact that I was worrying. And then I started worrying about the fact that I was worrying about the fact that I was worrying about the fact that I was worrying. And all of a sudden, it was like, I remember staring at this is all happening in a very short amount of time. I'm staring at the lake and it just felt like sort of like tunnel vision. Like I was spacing out, staring forward, and it felt like I was falling down into this abyss of worry. And my head suddenly became so loud, so crowded with thoughts. And no matter what I tried to do, I couldn't stop worrying. I tried to move on with my day. I tried to read or go in the water or whatever it is that 12-year-olds do. And the worries just kept playing in the back of my head like a loop. I couldn't make them stop. I remember sprinting through the forest around our lake house, trying to outrun the worries. I thought if I ran fast enough that I would be able to outrun what was happening in my head. I remember laying on the sofa in our house and covering my ears with pillows, hoping that it would block out the worries. But obviously, worries happen inside your head, so they can't be blocked out from the outside. And this, whenever I think back on my life, this is the real beginning of my OCD. Though I didn't know that's what it was at the time. I thought that I had just lost my mind because these worries that were happening felt distinct from what I knew to be myself up until that point in my life, from the normal consecutive rows of thoughts that I was used to having. All of a sudden, it was like there was this secondary part of my brain that was just on overdrive, constantly just worrying. And I couldn't shut it off. And it happened from the moment I woke up until the moment I fell asleep. No one knew what was happening to me, and I did a really good job of pretending like I was fine, pretending like nothing was happening. After the initial just worrying, over time, my worries started to take on themes. For example, one day I was in gym class, and in gym class at my school, every week they made us run a mile. Well, it was like Wednesdays. Every week we had to run a mile. And if the weather was bad outside, we would run it in the gym, and there were these cones, and you would run around the cones in the gym. And I remember running and zoning out, looking at the butt of the girl in front of me. And I am a heterosexual female. I, up until that point in my life, had only ever felt attracted to men or boys. But at that moment, when I zoned out, looking at the girl's butt, I thought, oh my God, I was staring at her butt. Am I a lesbian? And I immediately thought, no, I'm not a lesbian. Like I have no other evidence to make me think that I'm a lesbian. But then the worry part of my brain said, well, but you don't know, but you looked at her butt. Why were you looking at her butt? Are you attracted to her butt? And from then on out, I would do things that like I would stare at a girl that I found to be attractive and then check in my body to see if I would have a bodily response. So I would stare at a cute, attractive girl, and then I would check to see if I had a groinal response or to see if I felt any sort of attraction. And because when you go looking in your body for a response, you're often going to find one, this was a very horrible way of trying to determine my sexuality. And even back then, I knew like there's nothing wrong with being gay, like no problem. If I end up liking girls, oh well. You know, it's the 21st century, but it wasn't about the fear of being gay so much as it was the internal torture of, am I gay? Am I not gay? Am I gay? Am I not gay? And the same thing happens for gay people who have OCD, who can't convince themselves that they're not straight. Am I really gay or am I straight? Am I really gay or am I straight? It goes for every end of the sexuality spectrum. And it only got worse from there. I remember, I think it was Thanksgiving the first time this happened, but a bunch of my siblings came home for Thanksgiving. I'm the youngest of 8 kids, so I have a lot of older siblings. And I think I was sitting at dinner and looking at one of my brothers while he was talking, and I had the thought of, oh, you know, my brother he's really handsome, which is a normal thought to have. But my brain latched onto it and said, oh, you think your brother is handsome? That's disgusting. What's wrong with you? You must be attracted to your brother. How dare you think that one of your brothers is handsome? How dare? And then from there, the same thing that happened with me worrying if I was attracted to girls instead of boys happened with my siblings. I would look at my sibling and I would check my body, and of course I would find a response, and it just sent me down this whole rabbit hole. There was this feeling, oh my God, I can't believe that I just thought that, because now I'm never going to be able to unthink it. Now I will never be able to go back to who I was before I had this thought, before I had this worry. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life obsessing over this and worrying about this, and my life will never be the same again. I will never know peace because I've had this thought, and I'm never going to be able to let this thought go. It is internal torture. It is a constant onslaught of just self-loathing and worry and distress. It's like a metaphor that I've heard a lot is that the brain is like a record player, and a person who doesn't have OCD, you can have, the brain is producing just kind of garbage all day long, just random thoughts. We have so many thoughts throughout the day, and you could be standing next to a knife, and your brain might suddenly give you like an intrusive thought of picking up the knife and stabbing your own hand or stabbing someone else. And a normal person, a person with a normally functioning brain, would just say, that was weird, and then move on with the rest of their day. But someone who has OCD, it's like the record skips. It gets stuck on that thought, and it just skips over and over and over and over and over again. And it is truly torture. It is hell on earth. Now, if you can relate to the story that I just told, if any of that sounds familiar, if it sounds like something that has happened in your head, and you're scared and you're worried and you are wondering if there's something wrong with you, if you're a bad person, I am here to tell you you're not. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not a bad person. You're going to be okay. And the truth is that you may have one or both of the two disorders with which I am diagnosed, which is OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. And these two often go hand in hand because they have so much to do with worry and anxiety. But the good news for all of you is that they are both very easily diagnosable and completely treatable. I have been in therapy for OCD and for anxiety for many years now, and I have been taking the right meds for many years now, and I can't tell you how much good it has done for my life. I don't go in circles with myself anymore, at least not as much as I used to. Sometimes I have little spikes, but I don't. My brain is quiet in a way that I could never have imagined when I was a teenager, in a way that I begged for, I pleaded with the universe for, please, 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 make these thoughts go away, make them quieter. It is possible. And I've never made a YouTube video before. I don't even know if anyone will watch this. I am an author. I wrote a book it's a love story with a main character who has the same type of OCD that I do. I have a copy, I can show you the cover. This is the book. It's called How to Hide in Plain Sight. And I have received so many incredible messages from people who read the book, who said that they've never seen themselves reflected in popular media before. And so I was just thinking about other ways that I could get the word out there, advocate for people who have OCD, and I thought of YouTube. So again, I don't know if anyone will even watch this, but If you do, if you think you might have OCD, if you know you have OCD, if you have questions that you want to ask someone who is on the other side of many, many years of treatment and medication, drop a comment. I'll do my best to respond to all the questions that you have. And yeah, you're going to be okay, I promise.